welcome to pregnancy week 6 this week. Have a lot to talk about, so let's jump right in. First of all, I have started having just a little bit of queasiness this week. It's really not that bad at all. It's just if I get low blood sugar, you know, the typical pregnancy morning sickness formula, low blood sugar, I do feel a little bit just slightly queasy, but it hasn't been that bad yet. So when I first decided to test to see if I was pregnant was because I got really sick that one time and I thought it was morning sickness, but since then I really haven't had much sickness, so I'm really wondering if maybe that was some sort of bug or flu. But anyway, nonetheless, it was good motivation for me to test to see that I was pregnant, and I was. As far as cravings go, I really have only had one so far, and I have had one. This is my first major craving, and it's the exact same craving I had when I was pregnant with Alex, and that is the Costco organic orange juice. Oh my god, I cannot get enough of that stuff. And if you've ever been pregnant before, you know what it's like to satisfy a pregnancy craving. It's like when you have it, it is just like the epitome of satisfaction. Your body is just like, yes, this is exactly what I need, thank you. And so I've been drinking a lot of Costco organic orange juice. Maybe my body needs the vitamin C or something. It likes the citrus. I also like eating oranges and grapefruit as well, so something in citrus that my body really wants right now. Talk a little bit about my weight gain goals. Let's be honest, guys. When I was pregnant with Alex, I gained 55 pounds. So I think a lot of that was due to the, I was eating pretty healthy, all organic, very whole foods and everything, but I wasn't eating I wasn't eating the real food traditional diet that we're eating now. And I also ate a lot of carbs when I was pregnant with Alex. Because when I was feeling morning sick with him, I ate so many saltine crackers, and at our house we call white refined grains and white sugar white death. I ate a lot of white death when I was pregnant with Alex, and not even so much sugar, but just the white refined carbs, because that's what sounded good to me when I was feeling sick. So lots of saltine crackers. I ate a lot of Pirate's Booty, and that stuff is pretty darn tasty, but it's also very processed. So in the first trimester with him, I gained 10 pounds, I know. And basically, since I've learned a lot since then, I have some actual weight gain goals. I didn't really have weight gain goals last time. And I think that I need to, since my body type is the type, you know, I'm not super skinny, and you know, my body is the type that even when I'm eating well and even when I'm exercising, like, I don't naturally have a really fast metabolism, so I do have to be careful. I also read the book Bringing Up Bebe by Pamela Druckerman. I read that when Alex was a few months old. Fantastic book. I will do a book review of that book. It is like one of my favorite parenting philosophies, talking about how the French do things. And I mean, granted, the French are a bit vain about their appearance, stereotypically, and but I do agree with their philosophy that pregnancy is just not a free pass to eat whatever you want and let yourself go. And so there is a happy medium. You do have to eat a little bit more, but you don't have to eat more, and it's not that much more, until you're even in the second trimester. Yes, you're eating for 2, but in the first trimester, the second one is just this big. So you're not really eating for yourself and a full-grown man. So anyway, I really have taken that philosophy to heart, and I'm really trying to be a little more aware this time. That's not to say I'm restricting myself and what I eat, but just being cautious and not eating quite so many carbs this time around. And when I do, I'm making sure they're sprouted whole grains, and just being aware of portion control. So I'm mostly just eating the way I was before I was pregnant. I have my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm not really snacking a whole lot. That's also a big difference. When I was pregnant with Alex, I snacked a lot. And so if I am, really hungry between meals, I will try and have, like a little bit of apple and cheese or something healthy. But most of the time I'm doing my best not to snack too much. And I'm also trying to not consume that much sugar. Since we have changed our diet, I seem to have actually developed some sort of allergy to refined sugar. My body can't handle it anymore. We were visiting my grandpa a couple weeks ago, and we had dinner with him, and at the end they had this, it was like a berry cobbler, and that was the first time I had had refined sugar in quite a while. And afterwards I just like broke out in these sweats, and I was just had this like tingly like blah feeling all throughout my body, and I know it was because I had the refined sugar. So I think in a way, I mean, it's annoying because I can't eat desserts like I used to, but at the same time it will really help moderate how much refined sugar I eat. So that will definitely be limited. Instead of sugar, what I use as my main sweetener is stevia. I've done a lot of research on that, and stevia is just a plant, but it doesn't affect your blood sugar in the same way that refined sugar, even just like natural sugars from fruits and whatnot do. So it's very low glycemic index. So I sweeten most, if I need to sweeten something, I usually use the stevia drops. My plan is to continue to do that throughout pregnancy. Also using natural sweeteners like raw honey, or just eating fruit or something like that, because natural sugars don't cause my body to have that same kind of reaction. So that's one of my goals for doing things a little differently than I did in my last pregnancy. So, and also just, like I said, our new diet really involves just eating a lot of real traditional foods. So in a nutshell, that involves whole unhomogenized milk. We generally do actually drink raw milk from a local dairy. And I know that there's so much debate about whether raw milk is safe or not. I'll do a whole video on that. I'm actually a very big proponent of raw milk. It has done wonders for our health. But granted, the population that's at highest risk for consuming raw milk is pregnant women. Granted, that's if the raw milk makes you sick, and where I get it from is extremely clean. It's tested all the time. It's pretty darn safe. We drank it for like a year, no problem. I give it to Alex. But the reason why I'm being cautious is just because since I had 2 miscarriages before, I'm just being overly cautious this time. So I am drinking the next best thing to raw milk, which is non-homogenized, low temperature pasteurized milk. It's pasteurized, but at a much lower temperature for a longer period of time. So it doesn't kill all the good stuff like some of the probiotics and enzymes that are in there. So it still retains some of that stuff. So that's what I'm drinking during this pregnancy. And had I hadn't had the miscarriages, I probably would have continued drinking raw milk, because I know there are a lot of people who do and have no problems with it, but I'm just having an abundance of caution this time. Finally, in terms of my weight gain goals, I'm just trying to exercise regularly, moderate exercise. I actually did a pretty good job of that when I was pregnant with Alex, and I would like to do that again. My goal is to walk on average 5 or 6 days a week. Now, I know that being a mom and with the weather and our schedule, sometimes that's just not realistic. So my goal is a bare minimum of walking 3 days a week for a minimum of a half hour brisk walking. That's my goal. And if I have time, I'd like to throw in some other forms of exercise. I swam a lot when I was pregnant with Alex, and I'd like to do that again. But now having an older child is a little more difficult because I can't just go swimming whenever I want because I have to find childcare and whatnot. So anyway, those are my general fitness goals for this pregnancy. Alright guys, while we're talking about weight gain goals, let's have a little conversation about water retention. First of all, let me tell you that I normally have the body type that likes to retain water. It's just the way I'm built. I've always been that way since I was a kid. And when I was pregnant with Alex, oh my gosh, I was a blimp. I mean, a lot of the 55 pounds that I gained was water weight. I had cankles, folks. You could not see my ankles. And I am already noticing that is, at only 6 weeks, I'm already starting to notice water retention. But it's kind of been more than usual, and I started worrying about it a little bit. From morning to night, I sometimes gain 3 or 4 pounds just from morning to the time I wake up in the morning until I go to bed at night. And that's a little crazy. 3 or 4 pounds, like that's a lot of water weight. And then I like get up and pee all night long and it's gone in the morning. It's very strange. And I was worrying about it a little bit. I got to talking to one of my friends and she was like, you're taking the progesterone supplement, aren't you? And I was like, oh yeah. And that's something I'll tell you about in a minute. So I was like, that's probably why. Oh my gosh, that's probably why I'm retaining so much water. She said that it was something that she experienced during pregnancy as well, and as soon as she stopped taking the progesterone supplement, like that bloating went away. So I'm hoping that will be the case for me as well. Granted, I naturally, retain water and bloat really easily anyway, but I'm hoping that it will not be quite so extreme after I stop it. So speaking of the progesterone supplement, I am taking the progesterone supplement. I probably mentioned it in my previous video as well, but I am just taking it to help sustain this pregnancy. Since I had 2 previous miscarriages, this is just a step that we're taking to, they've done some studies showing that if people have had 3 recurrent miscarriages, it does help in subsequent pregnancies to sustain pregnancy. Granted, I only have 2, but we're just playing it on the safe side, and my nurse practitioner is totally on board with that, and so that's what we're doing. But the side effect of that obviously is bloating. Another side effect of that is, oh my gosh, does it ever make me hormonal? Holy cow! Let me tell you a story about last night. I had a moment last night where I was a complete basket case. I feel so sorry for my husband. Poor Bill. It's a good thing that he is such a patient man. I'm working on a project right now where I want to make like a little water table and or a sand table for Alex. You know, the kind that they have in preschools. I remember playing with them when I was in preschool, where they put sand or water in there and they have all the toys that you can play with, and you wear your little smock and stand and play. I was wanting to make one of those for Alex, and Bill was saying he had actually never heard of them before, and he's saying that just sounds like a really good way to make a huge mess inside. I was like, oh my gosh, this is something that I did when I was a kid and it wasn't a problem, blah blah blah. And just this little thing, him saying that to me, like I flew off the handle. I just went off the deep end. I was like, what do you think? Like, am I not a good parent? I'm trying to do these good things for our son. Can't you be more appreciative? Blah, blah, blah. And it was ridiculous, guys. Like, a really stupid thing to get upset over. And he was just saying, it sounds like it's something that might make a mess. And it just, like, launched into this whole, let's just call it an adult tantrum. I started crying, and it just, like, launched into, like, why don't you do this for me? Why don't you do that for me? And like, I was a mess, you guys. And after I calmed down, my face was all wet with tears and mascara running down my face. Poor Bill. He's so good. He's like, I think you're a little hormonal, Amanda. And I was like, I think you're right. And this morning I got up and I apologized to him because I was just a mess. And you know what, that's like not even my normal personality to freak out like that. But man, especially with that extra progesterone and the pregnancy hormones, I was a mess. And I can get that way a little bit when I'm PMSing as well, but this was a little more extreme, shall we say. And I remember I did get like that a few times when I was pregnant with Alex as well. So unfortunately, one of those crazy side effects of being pregnant. God bless my husband. He is such a patient man. I love you, Bill. Let's talk a little bit about pregnancy brain. Pregnancy brain is a real thing, let me tell you. And not only do I have pregnancy brain, I have mommy brain. So I have pregnancy brain on top of mommy brain. I didn't even think this was a real thing until I became a mother, but let me tell you, it's a real thing. So, case in point, I accidentally, in the last month or two, I have accidentally stolen an item or two from the store without even meaning to. It was totally accident. It was usually when I was just gonna run in and get a few things and I had Alex in the stroller and I would tuck something in away and I would get out to the car and I'd realize that something was kind of hidden in the stroller or like back in the cart that I had totally forgotten to pay for. I just felt like a total idiot. So I'd have to go back into the store, apologize, pay for the item. Then this last week, it was even worse. I was shopping for dinner and I got a rotisserie chicken. And same thing, I hid it away and, you know, I set it in the stroller and I got, this time, not only did I leave the store without paying, you're not gonna believe this. I rolled up the rotisserie chicken and folded it up in the stroller, put the stroller in the car and drove home. And I didn't even realize it until I was unpacking the groceries at home and I'd start looking around and like, where's the rotisserie chicken that I bought? I look at the receipt, like it's not even listed on the receipt, and I'm like, did it not get scanned? Like, what happened? Like, what the heck, did I do this again? And I look and then it dawned on me, oh my God, I left the rotisserie chicken folded up in the stroller in the car. What? So, sure enough, I go out there and the rotisserie chicken is still warm and it's wrapped up in the stroller. So I had to take the stroller out, undo it, and get it out. And in the meanwhile, I realized that it had leaked all over my stroller. So gross, guys, so gross. Thankfully, it had only been sitting there for 15-20 minutes, so it wasn't very long. So I took the stroller out and I had to take the stroller apart, like pull the fabric off and like scrub the thing, hose it down and bleach it. Finally, I got the thing clean, but oh my gosh, what an ordeal. Then the next day, I had to drive back to the store and apologize once again and said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, but I stole a rotisserie chicken. So I paid for it then. So anyway, that's the story of my pregnancy brain on top of mommy brain. It's a real thing, folks. My other main symptom, like I mentioned before, is the extreme fatigue, and it's getting worse this week too. I feel like I'm energetic right now during this video because thank the Lord above. Alex took a 3-hour nap today and I was able to take a nap with him, so I'm actually feeling a little better today. But most days, I mean, it is a real struggle for me to get through the day. It is a real struggle. I feel like the way there's been a few ways that I have described it when I'm like trying to describe it to Bill. I think I mentioned before, it kind of feels like when you have the flu and that like malaise heavy feeling that you get where you just, you know, without the fever and without the nausea, with all that, but just that heavy feeling like you cannot get out of bed. It's that kind of exhausted. Or another way I was describing it is like, you know, that feeling you get when you're in a dream and you're trying to run from something and you can't, and you have that paralyzed feeling, you're just like going in like slow motion and you feel like you're like running through molasses or something and you're paralyzed and you can barely move. It kind of feels like that a lot of the time. It's just this heaviness. Building a placenta and a baby really takes it out of you. Let's just say that. So I have just kind of been in survival mode a lot of the time. I just do what I can to get through the day. I feel a little bad about it, but Alex has been having a little more screen time than usual. I just lie down and I just feel like I'm just zoning out so much because I'm just trying to get through the day. And usually right after I put Alex down to bed, like I'm on the couch and I'm asleep. Like I am so exhausted. So another really strange symptom I've had is vivid dreams. This is something I had with Alex before, and it's very strange. I will have like these intense, I like go into this like intense dream world. I don't even know how to describe it. And often like there are people in dreams that I have like totally forgotten about, people that I knew a long time ago. But they're like very intense in these dreams, and it's like somebody new every day, like, or every night when I go to sleep. I don't know who I'm going to see in my dreams that night. Like, it's very strange. And when I wake up, it's like I'm like released from this world, and I like almost feel like I'm floating. It's like I'm lighter. I'm like, oh, I'm back in the real world. I'm not in this like crazy, intense, weird dream world. It's very strange. But that's a very interesting pregnancy symptom I've been having, but I've read that that's pretty normal, and I don't know why. It's probably just the hormones doing strange things to your brain. Finally, the last thing I wanted to talk about was apparently we like making March babies. Alex was born March 8th, and if I am calculating my, he's born March 8th, but his due date was March 12th. He was a couple days early. And if I am calculating my dates correctly, this baby is due March 14th. Now, I'm going to be getting an ultrasound done this week, which will be confirming dates, but it shouldn't be any more different than a few days from what I've calculated. So anyway, apparently we like making mid-March babies. So I'm just hoping for their sake that they each have their own birthday. I really think it's important for kids to have their own special day. And so I'm hoping, time will tell, but I'm just hoping and praying that Alex and this new little one will have their own birthday. Anyway, finally, just wanted to show you guys the belly shot for this week. Now, granted, I told you about my little bloating issue, so like it already looks like I'm more pregnant than I am. Plus, I have my belly left over from when I was pregnant with Alex, so it's just kind of the way it goes, having babies, you know. So, but I'll show you the belly for this week. All right, guys, here it is, my belly for pregnancy week 6. So here's from the front, and from the side, and the other side. There it is. So if you want to see more videos like this, click the subscribe button below. And if you like this video, click the thumbs up button, and we'll see you next week. Bye!